Hello, and this is a tutorial on Google Drive. What is Google Drive? I hear this a lot. I'm surprised sometimes that people don't know, but Google Drive is Google's version of the cloud, except it took the concept and put it on steroids. Google Drive isn't just your flash drive in the sky. It's also like a poor man's Microsoft Office. You can create Word documents, Excel sheets, PowerPoint presentations, surveys, and more. Add on top of that you can easily share the documents through Google Drive and easily send large quantities of data immediately to someone without having to send multiple emails. Here on the left is a folder in Google Drive. When you first create Google Drive or a Gmail account, you will go here in the apps, you'll click Google Drive, and it'll always go to what they call the M drive, which I believe means the My Drive. So this is My Drive. It's got a lot of folders in it, as you can see. And you can see I've got numbers on some of my documents and some of my folders. You also see in this that I have multiple colored folders that you can custom make the color to make them stick out to show to you that they're more important. Also, you can star them because you can always search things by starred to limit your search if you want to. The thing about starring things is you can get carried away. If you star too many things, well then searching and starred really doesn't help. But if there's things you know you use every day or you want to be able to find easily, I would suggest starring them because then you can just click starred and search through that. This is the shared with me in My Drive. Those are things that are actually shared with you. So here are things that have been shared with me over the time, and I can click on them and I can right click on them and I can add them to my documents. Most of these things I have added, but anything shared with me you can always add to your drive and make it your own. Although anyone can do that, that's the whole point of sharing. But once you have it in your drive, you don't have to look and share with me anymore. It is actually now taking up data in your drive, and it is accessible in your drive. Now you see these little people here in folders. That means that that folder is a shared folder. Meaning if I share that folder and I take it and I make things in it, everyone who has that folder shared with them now sees that document that I created. When you see a folder like this, this is not a shared folder. It has no person on it. This is a shared folder. This is a shared folder. So that icon means shared. Also, likewise, with documents when you share them. I'll see if I can find an example for you. Now, Classroom. This is the Google Classroom that I've created. This is a math class. This is the one I'll be using, the Google Apps Training. You see how I've numbered these in order, and I'll explain to you in a little bit what they mean. But here, they don't have the icon here for shared documents, but they have the little person icon here. That means everything in here is shared. But because this is a shared folder, not here, but these two are shared, meaning that when I put something in there, people who are in my class are going to see these folders. So now we'll be talking about how do you create things. What is creating? Well, how I made all these folders is everything's kind of right here, all in one button. New, I can make a new folder. I can file upload something from the computer. I can folder upload something from a folder I've already made. I can make a Google Doc. If I pull my mouse over here, I can form a template, which I showed you before in making a doc. I can also do templates of Google Sheets, which is the version of Excel for Google, and Slides, which is PowerPoint. And I can choose templates from that. Now there's more here. The one I use a lot is Google Forms. I haven't played much with Google Drawings, My Maps, any of these other ones, but I have done quite a bit with surveys. And if people are interested in that later on, I may show some of you how to use Google surveys. I usually use them, they're kind of like a SurveyMonkey version. You can create questions in a survey and it'll spit out the answers as data in Excel. But it'll do more than that. You can also get like visual data of circle graphs for answers to see, how many people guessed A or wanted A instead of B, C, or D. And you'll get a visual representation of that. There's a lot of nice new things they've added on there since they first made surveys. But now they call it Google Forms. So these are all the Google documents. And if I want to make a new one, I just simply click New. So I can click on here, it'll open a blank document. I can click New Folder. I will do a new folder just for an example. So we will do So it created a folder. Now, as I will warn you, anything you created in a shared folder like this will automatically be shared with the people you share it with. Because this is a classroom folder, anyone I add into my classroom will automatically have access to this folder and everything I put in it because it's shared with them. So anything I create in there, likewise, is basically a gateway to throw things that I want shared with them. If you don't want things shared with people in certain folders, you don't want to put them in that folder. So I've created a folder. Inside that folder, I could create a document, a sheet. And it warned me, do I want to create that in a shared folder? Because when I do, like I told you, it will be shared with everyone. So I can say Gdrive sheet example. So this is just like the Excel version of Google, or Google's version of Excel. So I can create columns here, so I can say name, address, job title. Doesn't matter what I put here, but if you're familiar with Excel, it is very similar. There are less things with being able to synchronize documents if you know how to do anything advanced like that. Like when you put something in a Word document, it'll automatically send it and spit it out as data in Excel. There's not that capability in Google yet because that can take up a lot of memory, and I'm guessing is why they don't allow it. But other than that, most of the programs that I've used in Excel are allowed, and I use them a lot myself, like being able to add and subtract and multiply in functions and putting in variables, and it'll spit out all the data you want. I found it very useful. I've used it for my time card. I've used it to keep track of attendance and keep track of total hours for students in the past. I found this is probably one of my most useful documents here is the Google Sheets for me personally, because it helps keep me organized. Now if I click New here, I can open up a Google PowerPoint, and they've got templates, but if I go up to blank presentation, it will look like this. So if I want, I can create a new slide, and it creates a new blank one. If I want to create a new specific type of slide, just like in Microsoft, they do have that option. You just got to click on the drop arrow here. You can choose a theme if you want, or make your own, but they have those options as well. Choose a background. You still have a lot of the same capabilities in PowerPoint or Google's presentation that you would have in PowerPoint. For survey, if you just want to see that. Now when you make survey, it used to just open up an Excel sheet that was automatically attached to it because whatever question you had. And you can create multiple choice, or you can create check boxes where they can choose multiple options. You can have it as a paragraph where it's a long answer or a short answer. I like to use them with the multiple choice or the check boxes because that makes it easier to keep data, but I mean you can have it as anything here. I've thought about maybe starting assignments with students here because you could create like little quizzes here, and if you knew what you were doing, you could make it spit out an answer when you were done. Basically giving them a grade of how many they had gotten wrong. Or if they guessed the wrong answer, it'll go to a new page, and you can have that page say, this is why this answer is wrong, to help their learning. But there are more uses here that I haven't tapped into that I would like to for survey. Now an organizing tip for this would be I put two digit numbers in front of whatever I make a document for. For example, if I want this to be the first thing that I see, I can rename it by right-clicking and then selecting rename, and I can go 00. I usually start with 01 because if there's something later on that I find more important, I can always put 00 in front of that to put it above it. But 00 or 01 I'll say, and I'll put example form. And now you see it puts it up to the top, because the way the name organizes things numerically, if you don't put a 0 in front of it, the problem that's going to happen, for example, is if I did just do, for this document, just put a 1 in front of it. And the reason why I say do 2 digits and start with a 0 like you've seen me do is because when I first started using Google Drive and putting files in here and trying to organize them for assignments, when I printed them in order, was for example, if I create a new document and I number this document and I go back to my folder here and it updates. This is the problem I'm talking about here. You have 0, 1, that's where it should be. Then you have 1, 11, 2. It doesn't put the 2 before the 11, because how it sees everything is it's comparing everything by first digit only. 0, 1, 1, 2. It's doing it like you do alphabetical. In Microsoft, I never noticed this, but Microsoft was a smarter program. When you had numbers, it would actually pay attention to the way you numbered them and go in the order that you would number it. So for example, 11 would be after 2 on a computer that Microsoft had made. The way Google does it, when you save options like this, 1 and 11, there's going to be this problem. So that's why I suggest when you do this is put the 0 in front of them for the single digit numbers. And that is what I did to fix the problem. Now there's a warning with sharing. Do not share anything with personal information on it unless you have absolute trust in the person you are sharing it with. Shared documents or folders can be reshared easily by the person you share it with. Unlocking the Pandora's box of that friend's friend can now share it with anyone. When you share a folder and create something new in that folder, like I was talking about here, this is a shared folder. If I create something in it, a little warning keeps popping up saying, are you sure you want to do that? Because it'll be a shared document. That means that if I put something in there, it's not going to ask me again if I want to make it a shared document. It already is a shared document, being in a shared folder. So take warning when you're creating new here, it's automatically going to create new in this folder. If I don't want to make something shared, but I want to create something new, I will have to go out into a folder that is not shared. For example, this is a not shared folder. If I click on it and I push new here, anything in here other than these 2 folders is not shared with anyone. It's not going to share unless if I specifically open that document or tell that document to be shared with someone. My drive is always a public one, or sorry, not public. It is always private to you. You cannot share your entire drive. So my drive is always public, so if you're in my drive, feel free to make whatever you want there. Another warning, make sure when you share that you know